Morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Namaste experience. And today we are going to have an experience indeed, because many of us have been in a particular experience that we're going to talk about. We're going to share about it. We're going to lift this experience so that we can all benefit from it, learn from it, grow together. So I'll begin by saying that at Namaste Village, those of you who live there know this, that we've had a lot of change, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of shifting. Some people who are leaving, some people who are arriving. A lot has been going on that has a tendency sometimes to shake the foundation of a building, and our community is like a building. It has a foundation, and from that foundation lifts something very strong and solid. And it has certainly been that way for the 7.5 years that we have had our community. And yet, like with everything else, there are changes and different shifts that happen. And the question is, are we able to relax into them? Are we able to see them as an opportunity for growth? Not just the challenges, the obvious challenges that they seem to present. So we're going to have a special guest here today, along with Vicky, of course, who is going to help us move through this. And I want to begin, though, with a parable, of course. I think listening to the voice of the mother is always a great place to begin, especially with a discussion like this. So here's today's parable. Nothing was as it was before. Many of Mother's first and original disciples had left the ashram, and new people were arriving every day. The disciples who had lived there for many months or years were worried that the changes would erode the energy of the ashram. And many were speaking in quiet, concerned tones about where it would all end. Without hearing a single word of this, Mother somehow felt the shift. And as she sat down in the meditation temple, she pointed at a branch that was heavy with ripe fruit and said, "Do you see how this branch bends under the weight of its offering? If it were stiff and unyielding, the fruit would snap it in two. But because it surrenders to the burden, it becomes stronger, not weaker." The disciples turned their eyes toward the branch. It dipped low, almost brushing the ground, yet held every mango with grace. Mother let the silence linger until it gathered gravity, the gravity of a mountain. "When the winds of change blow through the garden," she continued, "some trees resist and break, while others sway and sing. The ones who sing are not aware of the wind's force, or rather are not unaware of the wind's force. They simply know that resisting the inevitable is a song of sorrow, while dancing with it becomes a hymn of joy." A young disciple, newly arrived and still unsure of the sacred rhythm of Mother's teachings, asked, "But Mother, what if the change is too great and we lose what we've built together?" Mother smiled, her eyes soft like the edges of dawn. "You are not here to preserve the garden as it was," she said. "You are here to be the soil, the rain, the sun, for whatever the garden may become. What you built together is not the walls or the schedules or even the mantras. It is the unseen threads of love, which do not vanish with change, but only find new forms." And then she told them this story. There was once a sculptor who found a stone in the river. Every day he chipped away at it, seeking the form of the goddess Lakshmi inside. When others asked why he kept striking the stone when it was already beautiful as it was, he said, "Because I have seen what she longs to become." So too does the divine chip away at what you think must remain. Once again, so too does the divine chip away at what you think must remain. The old disciples, hearing this, bowed their heads, some with tears and some with quiet awe. "But, Mother," another disciple said, "doesn't the soul long for something that stays the same?" Mother laughed, a sound that felt like petals falling on a drum. The soul does not long for sameness, it longs for truth. And truth is not a stagnant pond, it is a river, ever flowing, always new. You may step into it each morning, and still it will never be the same water, and yet it is always the river. I really love that. You may step into it each morning, and still it will never be the same water, but it is always the same river. She closed her eyes, and her voice grew softer. Do not fear what changes. Fear what refuses to grow. Be like the ripe branch. Bend in gratitude for the fruit you were chosen to bear. And then let it fall. Let it feed the earth and become the tree again. And in that moment, something shifted in the hearts of her disciples, not just in thought, but in presence. They understood that the true ashram was not built by the hands of the past, but by the breath of what it is always becoming. And so they breathed deeply together and they bowed. I really like this story. It it shows how change, if we are focused out here in the world, is inevitable. But there is something that is changeless within each one of us, and it is this that we depend upon. Things happen, things change and grow, and if we're locked into it remaining the same, we miss that which is ever growing, ever expanding within us, that which could never change, but which is ever growing. Just as the divine is always extending itself, it is always expanding, so too are we called to expand our light in all of the gifts that we've received in community and everywhere else, in our families, with our friends. Each one of them is calling us deeper. But we, as humans, it's very normal, we have a tendency to cling, say, I don't want this to change. I have received letters from people who were worried about the fact that there have been some big changes at Namaste Village and things that are happening that people are concerned about. All I can say is don't fear any change at all. Just love. Just give yourself even deeper, open yourself even wider. And you're going to find that nothing changes in a way except that which leads to greater grace, deeper harmony, and a brighter love. So, with that, we have someone who's joining us today and will continue to join us a lot because this is someone who is part of the change. Those of you who live at Namaste Village know that our dear Unity Minister, Penny Honey, is going to be moving to the community in just a short couple of months. And she is so loved in the community, and I'm so happy that she's going to be joining us a couple of times a week at least. Oop. Oh, there she is. Hello, my dear. We're so happy that Penny's going to be with us. So I'm going to turn it over to her because she and I had a talk yesterday, and she shared something with me that I thought was so delightful, and I asked her to bring it with her today. Good morning, dear.
Good morning. Oh, what a joy. I just wish I could see everybody. It's a joy to be back with the community, to be sharing this time with you. Wow. So I just want to breathe into that for a moment. Yeah. Because, when James and I were talking yesterday, and we've been staying in touch through all of the changes and conversations that are going on at Namaste Village. Now, for those that aren't in Namaste Village, I invite you into this in this conversation. Have you ever experienced change in your life? Anybody? Yeah. One of the things that I find interesting about change is it reminds me that the universe is constant. Yeah, because change is constant. And for me, there's a lot going on as far as change in my life right now, because of course I am leaving my community here in Flagstaff and coming to Namaste in July to serve and be honored to serve as a spiritual leader there. So that's a lot of change. I have about 15 years with this little community here in Flagstaff. And we get a lot of investment in things, don't we, when we do that in our lives? And I don't necessarily know that even though I'm inviting this change into my life, I like all of it. That's the interesting thing, isn't it? We're always looking to align with the universe for a deeper and stronger connection to our knowing. And yet, we're really a little apprehensive, at least I am, about that piece around the universe that is change. It's life. That's what change represents, is life. So in these changes in my life and watching and being involved in the changes that are happening in Namaste, woo! And let's not even talk about the planet. I'm just saying. So here we are in the midst of it, right? And even though we choose it, even consciously or subconsciously, it's surprising to me how surprising change is because it happens all the time. So, in the conversation with James yesterday, I love acronyms. You probably are going to get tired of hearing them, but they just drop in. And several years ago, I was getting ready to deliver a message on the topic of change. And this is what dropped in for me: CHANGE, constantly having a new growth experience. That's change, my friends, constantly having a new growth experience, not partially, not sometimes. We are infinite in expression, and therefore we are required to expand into that infinite, amazing expression. And with that being said, it doesn't mean that everything I've ever let go of, I'm thinking all of it. Everything I've ever let go of has claw marks on it because change just doesn't always come easy. In fact, rarely. So, constantly having a new growth experience. And once we realize that change is constant, once we're willing to, put our arms around that a little bit, we can embrace that reality. It's just like in the Course in Miracles when we are invited to see through the illusion to get to the truth of. So, by all appearances, with all the things that are happening in the world, in your lives, in Namaste Village, in my life, in Flagstaff, wherever that might be, all of that is the noise of this realm, and we're living in it, and we feel it. Our work is to see through it, and change is, in fact, a motivator for that. And it serves as a momentum for that. At least that's been my experience. And because everything is so impermanent that we see around us, if we can embrace the fact that change is constant and it is offering up a new growth experience, I don't know, but for me, it gets easier. maybe that's something you could consider in it. And then I got to thinking a little bit about this whole constantly having a new growth experience. This is what I love about these conversations and this kind of growth and this kind of connection. So after the conversation with James, yeah, sitting with that a little bit. Actually, I was sweeping the carport because that's where I do my best thinking and meditating. So I'm sweeping away, and what I realized was the transformation in change, where we get the opportunity to be blessed, is to take that constant element of it and transform it to consciously having a new growth experience. Now we're empowered. Yeah, now we can see through the illusion of the noise. Now we can move to a higher level of consciousness and a deeper level of understanding. And there's where we make our best decisions. That's when we really align with and acknowledge the power that we have within us. At least I offer it up as a possibility because I'm finding with all the change that's happening in my life, that is comfort to me. And then as I was thinking about that consciously having a new growth experience, I'm thinking that consciously having a meaning accepting, right? Consciously having and accepting a new growth experience because we live in a friendly universe and it's just here to support us. And I know some things hurt and they're scary and they make us feel unsettled. I get it. And I know that in community, these things come up and we have bumps and we get to lean into the constant of change. And we get to lean into the constant of our infinite nature, and that is love. That's just love. And now we're just back to that. Don't confuse change with chaos. Chaos is disorder, and it runs in so many different directions. And it doesn't come with the intention of bringing us peace and growth and depth. So don't confuse the two. There will always be change that we can count on. And for that, I'm grateful. So, Vicki, I'm going to turn it over to you now, my friend.
Thank you, Reverend Penny, and welcome to Namaste World. Welcome to all in everywhere. And thank you for what you said. And I'm going to pick up and be very brief so I give Calico enough time. What James, in your parable, I love that the branch that has to sway and bend. And through the midst of this, I feel like it's been a miraculous experience having a very tangible swaying experience happen, appears spontaneously by grace through a brother at Namaste Village, Chris, who started these sway devotional dances on Wednesday nights. And that's what they are. They're sacred, silent, devotional dances of swaying. And I thought, hearing your parable, James, this morning, what perfect synchronicity and example. The other thing that I recognize, we've all been through major changes in our life. When we look outside of ourselves to try and fix and arrange and stabilize and secure our ideas of what we think we would want, we lose our balance. And that's when that reed snaps. When we step back, and I learned this lesson many years ago in a situation that involved my son, where I was afraid I was going to lose custody of him. And I had a very, very clear message. And the message was, I am not at the effect of my brother's mistakes. I am at the effect of God. And that has stayed with me through all these years, 30 years later, that when I feel threatened in a situation, I stop looking outside of myself to fix anything. And I turn immediately and remember that I am at the effect of God. And the directions in time have been very simple In fact, my grandson said it the other day on a phone call with James and I. He said, you must listen to each other, really listen. And when we listen to each other, and I had this experience this week, the issues kind of dissolved into the background. And what came about was an experience of simple compassion. I could hear the call for help in those I was listening to, who were speaking from different points of view about the same thing. Different points of view held tightly. To me, it was an experience of a deep call for help. And remembering that we're never upset for the reasons we all think, it put me immediately in a different position to really depend on the inside and to fall into that. So I invite you all. Our family is going through a big expansion, an expansion much like what's happening in the world. And as everyone's position physically changes, the center of what has made Namaste come alive has not changed. That center is a fire of love. And regardless of our own blind spots, each one of us, mine, everyone's, that fire is a roaring fire. And if we want to tune to it and listen, we listen to the fire best by listening to one another. Pass the words to the experience of love that's either being extended or calling out. And we're here to answer those calls for love, not by thinking we know what the answer and form might be, perhaps best by recognizing we don't. Brother James, it's your book. I don't know, maybe I love you. Come to life here at Namaste Village. So those are the few things I wanted to share, and I love each of you. I love you all, and I trust this greater process. We live at the effect of spirit, not of each other's whims. And when we let go of our position, we allow that spirit to come through us and act through our hands, our feet, and our voices. And when we listen to one another, we allow the natural love that we are to come forth and shine and take over here in time and open gentle pathways. So I love you all. And Calico, that's
Thank you,
now.
Vicky. Beautiful. So Calico, why don't you take us home, and then we're gonna end with a song from our dear beloved Scott. Are you there, Calico? It's not Tuesday. Well, Calico, if you come on, just start talking. You know, you mentioned the I don't know, maybe I love you book. And I think that may be key, staying in the I don't know, but maybe there's something happening here that I can't see right now that is expanding in love and light and grace. All I know for sure is that I have to keep that foundation of I love you. No matter what happens, I love you with all my heart. So stay in the I don't know, live in the maybe, and rest in the I love you. And then we begin to receive what Gandhi said. He said, be the change you want to see in the world. Don't resist the change. Don't avoid the change. This is what the ego wants to, oh, there's change. I better go around it. I better avoid it. No, be that change. Love it. Wrap your arms around it. Give it all of your energy. So I didn't hear Calico, so maybe she's not with us. Scott, go ahead and take us home.
Oh, James, this is so perfect. I'm so excited. Okay, I was trying to channel Calico. Flow with the winds of spirit. Go with the winds of change. No need to resist or fear it when your life's being rearranged. Let's sing that together. Flow with the winds of spirit. Go with the winds of change. Go with the winds winds of change. No need to resist or fear it. No need to resist or fear when your life's being when your life's being rearranged. It's time to release what's between you and your peace. Let your mind's resistance cease. Welcome change. Whoa, whoa. Flow with the winds of spirit. Go with the winds. Go with the winds of change. No need to resist or fear it. No need to resist or fear when your life's being when your life's being rearranged. The breezes that are blowing have a funny way of knowing where you need to do your growing, and they blow the change your way. It's okay. Flow with the winds of spirit. Go with the winds of change. No need to resist or fear it when your soul's being rearranged. All of the changes are moving you where you most long to be. You may not believe it, but your past is not your destiny. Whoa, whoa. Flow with the winds of spirit. Go with the winds of change. No need to resist or fear it when your life's being rearranged. The breezes that are blowing have a funny way of knowing where you need to do your growing, and they blow the change your way. It's all okay. One more time on the chorus. Flow with the winds of spirit. It's time to go with the winds of change. No need to resist or fear it when your life's being rearranged. When your life's being rearranged.
Beautiful, Scott. Thank you so much. And bless all of us. We resist nothing. We allow it all to move through and as us. And together we say, Amen, Amen, Amen.
Amen.
Punto.
Punto.
Much love to you all. Have a great day.
Mm.